"I'm going on a date with Spencer tonight," my wife said, looking me straight in the eye across our kitchen table after 23 years of marriage. I set down my fork slowly, looked at the meatloaf she'd made for what I now realize was the last time, and gave her one warning. "Walk out that door, Isabella. Everything we built together changes forever." She grabbed her purse and walked out anyway. What happened next broke her in ways she never expected. My name is Donovan Pierce. I'm 59 years old, and until that Thursday evening in March, I thought I had life figured out. I owned Pierce Auto Repair on the main strip in Toledo, built it from nothing over 27 years. Nothing fancy, but steady work, good reputation, enough to put 2 kids through school and keep the mortgage paid on our 4-bedroom colonial. Natalie had just finished community college, working part-time at the bank. Lincoln was in his 2nd year at Toledo Trade School, following in his old man's footsteps. I was proud of what Isabella and I had built together. She'd helped grow the business from day one, using her networking skills to bring in corporate clients from the manufacturing plant where she worked as a marketing coordinator. We were a team, or so I thought. After 27 years of building Pierce Auto from a single-bay garage to a 6-bay operation with 4 full-time mechanics, I figured we'd earned the right to coast a little. The kids were grown, the business was stable, and Isabella seemed happy enough with her coordinator position at Midwest Manufacturing. That Thursday started normal enough. Spent the day working on Mrs. Patterson's Buick with Lincoln, teaching him the finer points of transmission work. The kid had good hands, patient like his old man. Left the shop around 6 o'clock, stopped at Kroger for groceries Isabella had texted me about. She'd been working late more often lately, something about a big efficiency project with some corporate consultant from Columbus. Spencer Walsh, she'd mentioned his name a few times. Nothing seemed unusual about it then. When I got home, Isabella was already there, which surprised me. Usually when she worked late, she was really late. But there she sat at our kitchen table with a glass of wine, still in her work clothes but looking different somehow. Nervous, maybe, like she was building up to something important. "How was work?" I asked, setting the grocery bags on the counter, starting to unpack the usual Thursday items. Bread, milk, the good steaks for weekend grilling. "Fine," she said, not meeting my eyes. Her voice had that careful tone women use when they're about to drop a bomb. "Donovan, we need to talk. 23 years of marriage, and you learn to read the signs." The way she held her wine glass, the way she wouldn't look directly at me, the way she'd positioned herself at the far end of the table instead of her usual seat. But nothing could have prepared me for what came next. "I'm going on a date with Spencer Walsh," she said, just like that, casual as ordering coffee. "He's the consultant working on our efficiency project." The words hung in the air like smoke from an engine fire. For a moment, maybe 2, I thought I misheard her. 23 years of marriage, 2 kids, a business we'd built with our bare hands from a single-bay garage to the most trusted auto shop in Lucas County. And she was sitting there telling me she was going on a date. Not asking permission, not seeking input, just stating a fact like she was announcing a dentist appointment. "What?" The word came out softer than I intended. I was still holding a loaf of bread, feeling suddenly stupid standing there in my work clothes, smelling like motor oil and honest sweat. "Spencer asked me out," Isabella continued, her voice steady, practiced, like she'd rehearsed this in the mirror. "I said yes. I need to see if there's something more out there for me. I need to know what I might be missing. Something more. After 23 years, I was something less. After raising 2 kids together, building a successful business together, surviving her father's death and my mother's cancer together, I was somehow not enough." I set the bread down carefully on the counter and walked over to where she sat, looked her in the eyes, searching for the woman I'd married at 36, the one who used to wear my mechanic shirts on Sunday mornings, who'd bring me coffee in the shop during busy days, who'd been so proud when we hired our first employee. She was there somewhere behind that calm facade, but she felt like a stranger wearing my wife's face. "Isabella," I said quietly, keeping my voice level despite the earthquake happening in my chest, "if you walk out that door tonight, everything we built together changes. You understand that, right? This isn't something we come back from. This isn't some trial separation or marriage counseling situation. This is you choosing him over 23 years of us." It wasn't a threat. It wasn't manipulation. It was the truth, bare and simple. The same way I'd explained to a customer that their transmission was shot beyond repair. Sometimes things break so completely that fixing them costs more than they're worth. She held my gaze for a long moment, and I saw something flicker behind her eyes. Doubt, maybe. Second thoughts. For just a heartbeat, I thought she might choose us. Choose the life we'd spent more than 2 decades building together. Then she stood up, grabbed her purse from the counter, and headed toward the front door. "I understand," she said over her shoulder, her heels clicking across the hardwood floor we'd installed together 3 summers ago. And she left. I stood there in our kitchen, listening to her car start in the driveway, listening to the sound of her driving away to meet another man, while wearing the wedding ring I'd saved 6 months to buy her. The house settled into silence around me, broken only by the hum of the refrigerator and the distant sound of traffic on Sylvania Avenue. The meatloaf was getting cold on my plate, the life we'd built was ending, and all I felt was clarity washing over me like cold water. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a moment of weakness or midlife crisis confusion. This was a choice. Her choice. Now it was time to make mine. I worked through the night with methodical precision. No crying, no rage, no desperate phone calls to marriage counselors or her sister. Just one item after another, pulled from our shared closet, folded, placed in suitcases. My hands stayed steady even when my mind wanted to spiral into questions about what I'd done wrong, what I could have done differently. The thing about being a mechanic for 27 years is you learn to see things clearly. When an engine is shot beyond repair, you don't waste time and money trying to rebuild it. You replace it and move on. Isabella had shown me our marriage was broken beyond repair, and I wasn't going to waste any more time pretending otherwise. Some things can't be fixed, no matter how much you want them to work. By 3 o'clock in the morning, my side of the walk-in closet stood empty. Bare hangers swayed slightly from the air conditioning vent. I'd taken only what was mine. Clothes, tools, my laptop, the few books I actually read. Everything that made our bedroom smell like Old Spice and WD-40 was gone. I left everything else untouched. The wedding photos stayed on the dresser. Our kids' baby pictures remained on the shelf. The anniversary gifts she'd given me over the years stayed exactly where they'd been. In the kitchen, I assembled the documents I'd need. As a business owner, I'd learned to keep everything organized for tax season. I made copies of bank statements, property deeds, business documents, insurance policies. Then I did something most men wouldn't think to do, something that would later drive Isabella crazy with its completeness. I transferred my half of the house to Isabella entirely, refinanced online through our credit union at 3:47 a.m., putting all responsibility solely on her shoulders. The business stayed mine. I'd built Pierce Auto Repair 4 years before I met Isabella, and my name was the only one on the deed. But everything else, the house we'd shared, the joint accounts, the credit cards, I extracted myself with surgical precision. Our joint checking account had $47,000. I withdrew my half, opened a new account at Fifth Third Bank across town, left her portion untouched, plus an extra $5,000 for good measure. It took 4 hours of paperwork and online banking, but by dawn, I'd legally extracted myself from our shared life. Clean cuts, no loose ends, no room for argument later. I left a folder on the kitchen counter with all the account information, signed documents, utility contacts she'd need, and a list of contractors for house maintenance. No note, no explanation, no angry letter. The facts spoke for themselves, laid out in the same organized way I approached everything else. She wanted her freedom to explore other options. I was giving her complete freedom, along with complete responsibility. At 6:30 that morning, I loaded my F-150 with everything I owned and drove north toward Michigan. I had a destination in mind, the old family cabin on Pine Lake that my dad had left me when he passed 5 years ago. Hadn't been there since the funeral, but it was mine, free and clear, and it was 2 hours away from everything that reminded me of the life that had just ended. The drive gave me time to think, really think, for the first time in months, maybe years. When had Isabella started pulling away? When had I become invisible in my own marriage? I'd been working 50-hour weeks at the shop, coming home tired but satisfied, thinking I was providing for my family the way a man should. But somewhere along the way, providing had become just existing. I'd been so focused on keeping the business running, keeping the bills paid, keeping everyone else happy, that I'd forgotten to pay attention to my own happiness. Isabella came home around 11 o'clock that morning, smelling of wine and cologne that definitely wasn't mine. According to Natalie, who called me weeks later, the house greeted her with silence so complete it felt like walking into a tomb. She called my name, no answer. Checked the garage, my truck was gone. She texted me, then called, straight to voicemail. I'd turned the phone off somewhere outside of Bowling Green and buried it in my glove compartment. The first thing she did was panic. The second thing was get angry. How dare I leave without a fight? How dare I make it so clean, so final? She'd expected drama, confrontation, the chance to explain herself and make me understand her needs. But I'd used what I now recognize as a perfect going ghost strategy, denying her the emotional ammunition she'd been counting on. She didn't find the folder until she made coffee the next morning. The same coffee pot I'd bought her for Christmas 3 years ago. The same kitchen table where she'd delivered her bombshell. Isabella's first reaction, according to Natalie, was pure rage. She threw the folder across the room, scattered papers everywhere, screamed at the empty house like I might somehow hear her. But then she started reading the documents. Saw how thoroughly I'd extracted myself, saw how much money I'd left her, saw that I'd taken care of every detail, every responsibility, every possible future complication. It wasn't the reaction of a man having an emotional breakdown. It was the work of someone who'd made a calculated decision and executed it flawlessly. That's when the real panic set in. She'd expected me to beg, to fight for her, to prove my love by refusing to let her go. Instead, I'd done the one thing she hadn't prepared for. I'd respected her choice completely and made my own. She wanted to explore her options? Fine. She was now completely free to explore them, along with being completely responsible for the consequences. She told her coworkers I'd overreacted, told her friends at the plant that I'd thrown a tantrum over one dinner date, made herself the victim of a controlling husband who couldn't handle her independence. Some people believed her initially. Her work friends, mostly the ones who'd been encouraging her to live a little and see what else was out there. But others saw through it immediately. Natalie was the first. My 22-year-old daughter drove over the day after I disappeared, found Isabella sitting in our empty house surrounded by scattered legal documents, and asked the question that cut straight to the heart of the matter. Did you really expect Dad to stay while you dated someone else? Isabella's response was telling. Your father's different. He understands I need space to figure things out. He knows I'm not happy. Natalie's comeback was swift and brutal. Dad understood you made a choice, and he made one too. You don't get to be surprised by that. And yeah, he knew you weren't happy. We all knew. The question is what you were going to do about it. Apparently, the answer was cheat. The fallout at Midwest Manufacturing came slower but hit harder than Isabella expected. Spencer Walsh, the corporate consultant who'd seemed so charming and available, turned out to be very married. 2 kids in high school, a mortgage in Upper Arlington, the whole suburban package complete with a wife who handled the family's social media accounts. Spencer's wife, Patricia, found out within 2 weeks. Someone at the plant, feeling guilty or vindictive, Isabella never found out which, sent Patricia screenshots of text messages and photos from the hotel where Spencer and Isabella had been meeting. The kind of evidence that leaves no room for explanation or denial. Patricia Walsh didn't just file for divorce. She went nuclear, posted the evidence on Facebook, tagged Spencer's consulting company, sent copies to his biggest clients. Within a month, Spencer had lost his contract with Midwest Manufacturing, his wife, his kids' respect, and most of his consulting business. Word travels fast in corporate circles, especially when it involves someone betraying trust. The HR department at Midwest Manufacturing got involved immediately. There were meetings, stern warnings about workplace conduct, mandatory seminars about professional boundaries. Isabella tried to distance herself, claimed she didn't know Spencer was married, that he'd misled her about his situation. But people at the plant talked, and they'd seen the signs for months. The lingering touches during meetings, the private jokes, the way Isabella's face would light up when Spencer entered a room. Her supervisor, Margaret Rodriguez, a woman who'd mentored Isabella for 8 years, became professionally distant almost overnight. The promotion to senior coordinator that Isabella had been promised suddenly stalled out. Projects that would have come her way automatically started going to other people. Margaret's explanation was simple and devastating. Trust is everything in this business, Isabella. How can our clients trust you to handle their projects when you couldn't handle your own marriage? Isabella came home each night to our house, her house now, and the silence grew heavier with each passing day. No sound of my truck pulling into the driveway at 6:30. No smell of coffee brewing at 5:30 a.m. when I'd get up to prep for early customer appointments. No one to share dinner with, no one to complain to about difficult customers, or celebrate with when we landed a big corporate fleet contract. Just her and the choices she'd made, echoing through empty rooms that suddenly felt too big, too quiet, too full of memories of what she'd thrown away. Meanwhile, 2 hours north on Pine Lake, I was learning to breathe again. The cabin needed serious work when I arrived. The roof leaked in 3 places. The plumbing hadn't been updated since the 1970s. The heating system was held together with duct tape and prayer. Perfect. I threw myself into fixing it, one problem at a time. There's something therapeutic about working with your hands when your heart's been demolished, solving problems that actually have solutions. The work kept me busy during the day, but the evenings were harder. Too much quiet time, too much space for thoughts I didn't want to think. That's when I started writing. Not fiction, not poetry, just observations about what it means to walk away from everything you've built. How silence can be louder than shouting. How dignity costs more than pride but buys you peace that can't be taken away. I started a blog called Donovan's Real Talk. Nothing fancy, just honest thoughts about starting over at 59, about being the invisible husband, the one who shows up every day, pays the bills, fixes whatever's broken, and somehow still isn't enough. About the toxic wife behavior that slowly erodes a man's self-worth until he stops believing he deserves better. The first post was titled, "The Meatloaf Moment." I wrote about that Thursday night, about how a simple dinner became the moment everything changed. She set her plate down so carefully, I wrote. Didn't want to make noise, didn't want to add sound to what was already breaking. She announced her date like she was discussing weekend plans, casual as asking me to pick up milk. 23 years, and I was worth less consideration than a grocery list. 3 people read it the first day, then 12, then 50. Within a week, I was getting emails from men across the country telling me their own stories. Guys who'd felt invisible in their own homes, taken for granted so long they'd started to believe they deserved it. Men who'd been supporting wives financially and emotionally while being told they weren't exciting enough, successful enough, attentive enough. The comment section became a support group. "Thank you for putting into words what I couldn't," wrote one guy from Texas. "Been married 18 years, and she treats our mailman better than she treats me," another from Michigan. "My wife told me last month she needed to find herself. Apparently she found herself in our neighbor's bed. Reading your words helped me realize I'm not crazy for feeling angry about that." I wasn't giving advice in those early posts. I was just sharing what I was learning. That leaving isn't weakness, it's self-preservation. That you can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. That sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let go completely, even when it feels like it's killing you. By my 3rd month at Pine Lake, the blog had grown beyond anything I'd imagined. 50,000 monthly readers, then 75,000. The comment section was full of men sharing their stories, supporting each other, finding strength in shared experiences. That's when I decided to start the YouTube channel. Donovan's Real Talk launched on a Tuesday morning with a simple setup. Me sitting in the cabin's main room talking directly to the camera about dignity, self-respect, and starting over after 50. The first video got 847 views. I talked about the Sigma male mindset, about how walking away from disrespect isn't running away, it's running towards something better. "Gentlemen," I said to the camera, "here's what I learned about going ghost completely. It's not about punishing them. It's about protecting yourself. When someone shows you they don't value you, believe them the first time. Don't wait around hoping they'll change their mind. Change your location instead." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Comments poured in from men who'd never had someone put their feelings into words. "Finally, someone gets it," wrote one subscriber. "Been married 15 years and she acts like I'm the hired help. This video gave me permission to value myself again." Within 6 months, I had 45,000 subscribers. The videos I made sitting in that rustic cabin talking about masculine self-respect and the courage to walk away from toxic situations were reaching men across the country who felt invisible in their own lives. I wasn't preaching or giving relationship advice. I was just sharing what I'd learned about choosing dignity over desperation. The channel's growth coincided with Isabella's world continuing to collapse. According to Natalie, who visited me every few weeks, Isabella had tried to repair the damage at work, but found herself increasingly isolated. The plant's culture had shifted around her. Conversations stopped when she entered rooms. Invitations to after-work gatherings dried up. The respect she'd built over 8 years was gone, replaced by whispered speculation about her judgment and character. Spencer Walsh, meanwhile, had become a cautionary tale in Toledo's business community. His consulting practice folded within 4 months. His ex-wife Patricia had been thorough in her destruction, making sure everyone in their social circle knew exactly why their marriage had ended. Spencer ended up taking a corporate job in Cincinnati, starting over in a city where nobody knew his story. But the worst part for Isabella wasn't the professional consequences or social isolation. It was watching our kids choose sides. Natalie made it clear where her loyalty lay during one particularly brutal visit. "You had the best man I've ever known," Natalie told her mother, standing in our old kitchen where Isabella had announced her intentions 8 months earlier. "Dad worked 27 years to build something stable for this family. He never missed a school event, never forgot an anniversary, never made you wonder if you mattered to him. And you threw all that away because some married guy made you feel special for a few months. I'm ashamed to be related to you right now." Lincoln was quieter but equally clear in his judgment. His weekend visits to the lake became regular events, and he started bringing friends to meet me. "This is my dad," he'd tell them with obvious pride. "He's the one who taught me that self-respect isn't negotiable." The kid had learned the lesson I'd hoped to teach without ever having to say it directly. Isabella tried to bridge the gap with our children, but damage was done. When you show your kids that commitment means nothing, that promises can be broken when something more exciting comes along, you can't expect them to respect you the same way afterward. Actions have consequences, and sometimes those consequences last a generation. By my first anniversary of walking away, I didn't celebrate, but I marked it. I'd built something I never expected. Not just peace, but purpose. The YouTube channel had reached 350,000 subscribers. Men were writing to thank me for giving them permission to value themselves. Some had left toxic marriages after watching my videos. Others had found the strength to set boundaries they should have established years earlier. A literary agent named Rebecca Martinez reached out through the channel's business email in month 10. She'd been following the content, seen the engagement, understood that I was connecting with an underserved audience. "Have you ever considered turning this into a book?" she asked during our first phone call. I hadn't, but the idea grew on me. Not a memoir exactly, but a guide. A roadmap for men who'd lost themselves in relationships that had stopped valuing them. We worked on a proposal together, and within 3 months we had interest from a publisher in Nashville that specialized in men's self-help content. The advance wasn't life-changing money, but it was validation. Proof that walking away from what wasn't working could lead to opportunities I'd never imagined. The book was scheduled for release the following spring, and Rebecca was already talking about a potential speaking tour. "You've tapped into something powerful," she told me. "There are millions of men out there who feel invisible in their own lives. Your story gives them permission to be visible again." I'd also met Andrea Stone by then. She owned the Pine Lake Diner, had been widowed 5 years earlier when her husband died in an industrial accident at the Ford plant. We started talking over coffee, became friends, then slowly something more. She didn't ask me to be anything other than who I was. Didn't need me to fill some role or meet predetermined expectations. "I like that you know who you are," Andrea told me one evening as we watched the sunset from the cabin's deck. "Most people our age are still trying to figure that out. You've got the confidence that comes from surviving something terrible and coming out stronger." Isabella made one last desperate attempt to contact me 18 months after she'd walked out our door. A single email that somehow got through my business filters, sent to the address I used for YouTube channel inquiries. The subject line read, "Please read this, Isabella." "Donovan," it began, "I've been in therapy for 6 months now. Dr. Peterson says I need to take responsibility for my actions without expecting forgiveness or reconciliation. I understand now what I destroyed. You gave me 23 years of stability, loyalty, and love, and I threw it away because I was afraid of getting older, afraid I'd missed out on something. I convinced myself you didn't appreciate me anymore, but the truth is I'd stopped appreciating you." Spencer was a fantasy, a midlife crisis disguised as romance. He made me feel 25 again for about 3 months, until his wife found out and reality crashed down on both of us. I lost everything: my marriage, my kids' respect, my career prospects, my friends. He lost his family and business. 2 marriages destroyed, 4 kids traumatized, all because I needed to feel special. I'm not asking for forgiveness or another chance. I know that door is closed forever, and I know I'm the one who closed it. I just want you to know that I see now what I had, what I lost, and what you've built since then. Natalie showed me your YouTube channel. I've watched every video. I'm proud of you for helping other men avoid the mistakes I made. You deserved so much better than what I gave you. I read it once, sitting on the cabin's deck with my morning coffee, Andrea still asleep inside after staying over for the weekend. I felt something I hadn't experienced in months when thinking about Isabella. Pity, not the cruel kind that takes satisfaction in someone else's pain, but the genuine sadness you feel when someone destroys their own life through preventable choices. Then I deleted the email, not out of spite or anger, but out of completion. That chapter was over, and dwelling in it served no purpose for either of us. Isabella needed to find her peace without my participation, just as I'd found mine without hers. 2 years after Isabella chose Spencer Walsh over 23 years of marriage, I stood on the deck of my cabin watching the sunrise over Pine Lake, coffee in hand, listening to the loons call across the water. The air was clean and sharp, carrying the scent of pine and possibility. My second book was due to the publisher next month. The YouTube channel had passed 450,000 subscribers. I had a speaking engagement next week at a men's conference in Detroit, fee of $2,500 for 45 minutes of sharing what I'd learned about starting over after 50. Most importantly, Andrea was inside making breakfast, humming some old country song while she worked. Simple, easy, real. A relationship built on choosing each other daily instead of taking each other for granted. We'd been together 14 months now, and not once had I wondered if I was enough for her. She made sure I knew my value through words and actions the way healthy people do. Isabella was still living in our old house, her house now, still working at the manufacturing plant, still alone. Natalie told me she'd aged 10 years in 2, developed a drinking problem that she was trying to address in AA. The affair had cost her everything she'd taken for granted: her marriage, her family's respect, her social standing, her peace of mind, her sense of self-worth. But I didn't feel satisfaction from her suffering anymore. I felt free from caring about it at all. That's the final stage of going ghost completely, when their pain stops being your concern, when their choices stop affecting your peace. True indifference is more powerful than anger or hatred because it requires no emotional energy, no mental space, no involvement whatsoever. My phone buzzed. A text from Andrea. "Morning, mountain man. Pancakes are ready, and I made that maple syrup bacon you pretend not to love." I smiled, typed back, "Be right in. And I don't pretend anything. I love everything you make." Standing there in the morning light, I realized something profound. I'd walked away from everything I'd known, carrying nothing but my dignity and my pickup truck, and I'd built a life that was mine, completely and utterly mine. A life where I was seen, valued, chosen daily by someone who understood my worth. The old Donovan, the one who'd folded himself smaller and smaller trying to fit into Isabella's vision of marriage, was gone. In his place stood someone stronger, wiser, more complete. I didn't need anyone's permission to matter anymore. Didn't need validation from someone who'd spent 23 years teaching me I wasn't enough. This was freedom. This was peace. This was the life I'd earned by having the courage to walk away from the one that was slowly killing my spirit. And it was infinitely better than anything I'd left behind. The lesson isn't complicated, but it's hard to accept. When someone shows you they don't value you, believe them immediately and act accordingly. Your dignity isn't negotiable, and your self-respect isn't up for discussion. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply walk away and build something better. The right person will never make you question your worth. They'll remind you of it every single day. That's the difference between settling and choosing yourself, and it's a difference that can transform your entire life.